So in reality, the economy has already crashed. And what they're doing is they're just printing money and putting band-aids on it so that we don't realize it. So they're giving us a lot of narratives, psyops, wars, crises, in order to take us away from the fact that things are just getting worse. If anyone is still thinking that the system is not controlled by a hidden hand, everything is not connected, all of these people are just actors, the whole world is a stage, and men and women are just mere players. If you don't understand that now, then my friend, I think that there's probably no hope for you. Life is going to get harder. And I called it last year, and 2027 is going to be levels, because you're gonna have all of these things happening. Energy crisis, food crisis, government crisis, collapsing religion, collapsing money, AI trying to tell us that it is God, and no one is gonna be looking to work on themselves because we're gonna be in survival mode.
Hey Conscious Man 7 family, quick question before we start. Do you love the depth of these conversations but hate when ads break the flow? I get it. Ads can feel like speed bumps on a highway, pulling you out of that deep zone. That's why we created a way for you to enjoy every episode completely ad-free while supporting the show at the same time. For just a few bucks a month on Patreon or Locals, you'll get full access to uninterrupted episodes. You'll get direct access to me so you can ask me any questions that you have, some cool other perks like early releases, and you'll also help us keep bringing you the powerful conversations that mainstream platforms won't touch. The link is in the show notes. Join us there and be part of this movement. Ever look up and see those dull, grey skies streaked with chemtrails, and you feel your energy sink? You're not imagining it. Something in you knows the sky isn't supposed to look that way. But what if you could bring back the blue? What if there was a way to clear the air, inside you and above you? That's where the Chembo comes in. They create powerful orgonite, tools that generate orgone energy, the life force that helps neutralize EMFs from your mobile phone, your Wi-Fi, and even 5G. It's nature's way of restoring balance, bringing cleaner air, calmer energy, and deeper sleep. Every piece from the Chembo is handmade, from tactical tower busters to beautiful pyramids and jewelry, crafted with the precise ingredients to generate real orgone energy. And here's the best part. They've proven it. For over 10 years, they've cleared thousands of miles of chemtrails, bringing the blue back to the skies around the world. So if you're ready to take back your weather and your well-being, go to thechembo.com. Use coupon code CM7 for 10% off and experience the shift for yourself. Don't fear the chemtrails or the EMF. Be empowered with the Chembo and never feel helpless again. If you are new to this podcast, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and to share, because that helps us to be recommended in the algorithms. If you would like to support this podcast, please check out our merch store on Amazon with the brand Todd and Me. We've got some cool t-shirts, tank tops, hoodies, and sweaters. Link will be in the description of this podcast. And if you're now starting a spiritual journey, you would like to start a spiritual journey, or you're currently on a spiritual journey and you would like some help removing some fears and traumas, please hit me up on my Instagram at Adriano_246 and it will help you to get some magic mushrooms. Enjoy the show and stay tuned, because we have some more great content coming soon. What if the ground beneath you is already collapsing and you've been trained not to feel it move? Hello beautiful and amazing people. Welcome back to the Conscious Man 7 podcast. I am your host Todd Cave, and today it's just me, you, and the sand under my feet. This is my first walk and talk in many months that I've put out, so no guests, no questions, just me on the beach, following a thread I haven't been able to let go for months. Before I get into it, there's something I need to say. I've been banned from social media before, deplatformed overnight, cut off from thousands of you without a warning and without an explanation, like years of conversation just disappeared behind me. I remember exactly what that felt like, and I never want to feel it again. And more than that, I never want you to lose contact with me again. That's why I built the ConsciousMan7podcast.com and CompoundBodyTraining.com. Both links are in the description below, and it's why today I'm asking you to join the email list. There's a simple subscribe box waiting for you right at the bottom of the page. It takes 30 seconds, and it means no algorithm, no platform, and no ban can ever stand between us again. Whatever happens to this channel or my social media pages, you will always know where to find me, and I will always know how to reach you. And honestly, what I'm about to walk you through today is exactly the kind of conversation that gets a channel flagged. I've spent years now studying how power actually moves, who profits when everything falls apart, and why the loudest headlines are so often the ones designed to keep you looking the wrong way. Today, I am laying it all out, unfiltered, the way it actually formed in my head. If even half of what I am about to say is true, none of us are as informed, as safe, or as free as we think. So put your headphones in and let's go beyond the veil.
When truth is blurred by lies and misinformation, perception becomes reality. What will you perceive your reality to be?
Liberate your fears and walk with me.
Sit down and meditate. Connect with your soul.
Be a monster and then learn how to control it.
You gotta be willing to do the work.
So it really goes really deep in terms of words and etymology and what they mean. So this is why it is really hard to really crack the matrix, because there's so many levels and layers to it,
So it has been a while since we've done a walk and talk, and today I was quite inspired to come down to the beach and talk to you all today. And one of the reasons I've not been able to do a walk and talk is that I've been extremely busy. The podcast has really been growing well. I've had a plethora of very good conversations recently, and I've actually been blessed where people are seeing the quality of the podcast, seeing the value of the podcast, and a lot of people are reaching out to me and wanted to come on the show. So I've been actually very busy just recording, in my living room. But today we are going to talk about the state of the world. One of my favorite topics. And, so much is going on. And the thing that is really the travesty is that a lot of stuff that's coming out is actually true, but it's also mixed with a lot of lies, because it is a bit like religion, you have good truths in religion, and then you have some stuff in religion that's not true. And we can get into all of that today, right? So let's talk about the real agenda. And I'm going to go back to what I said in 2024 and in 2025. We will never get the Jeffrey Epstein files in a way that actually matters, because what they gave us, right, is a bunch of redacted information. And the people who are ruling the world, we know now 100% that not only do they traffic children, they molest children, and they eat children, right? So they're doing all of these ritual sacrifices, and basically this is what is feeding their power. So what we have now is that we have one psyop after another psyop after another psyop to basically, keep us in confusion. They basically are trying to give us a war and then another war and then another war, because perpetual war keeps humanity in fear. And when you keep humanity in fear, what it means is that humanity is much easier to control. Because when you go back to even ancient times, in the Sumerian tablets, it is very clear that these Anunnaki gods who created us they used to inject a lot of fear in our consciousness, and that is how they were able to rule us, right? And this is why in the Abrahamic faiths, we have a lot of fear where you must fear God. And I always say to people that God, the creator of the universe, is not something that you should be fearing. It is something that is you because you are part of it, and it is part of you because you are in it and it is you. You are it. We all are it. And the source, the creator of the universe, is all love. So any doctrine, any belief system, anyone that is trying to use fear in order to rule and govern, that is not good fruit. This is why Yeshua said, you will know them by their fruit. And a good tree has good fruit. So, the fruit of the religion is not good. The fruit of these people that are ruling the world is not good. This is why we have forever wars, because the forever wars distract us from the Jeffrey Epstein files, which in my humble opinion, I think is the canary in the coal mine, right? Now, I remember when Jeffrey Epstein first got held, I said to my closest friends at the time, if this guy survives and goes to court, the whole system collapses. Because, like I've said many times, this guy was connected to pretty much everything on earth. And even I found out that he is connected even to my home country, Barbados. There's a place called Apes Hill. And I think from memory, it was like $16 million that was invested there. And what I do know is that although I love my country, Barbados, I was born there, I am a Bajan. And the Bajan accent comes out because that is who I am and what I am. However, we are a country that is just pretty much a vassal state of the United Kingdom, and it is the laundromat for a lot of corporations, United Kingdom, all the trusts and stuff, because, they do a lot of backdoor deals. And even when you look at my country now, the Prime Minister, Mia Mottley, she's trying to bring in a digital system called BIM-Pay. And basically, they have now said, I think it was the Deputy Central Bank Governor, said that, yes, it will be linked to your digital ID. So these people are not even hiding it anymore. They're just brazen about it. And they don't care, because this is why I say we are in the apocalypse. The revealing, the lifting of the veil, and everything that is hidden is being revealed. Now, some people don't want to admit that because it's easier to believe the lie. It's more comfortable to believe the lie. But it is what it is, right? And the objective of the wars is really to lower the system, right? And the reason why I say that is because right now we are in the end game, right? Now, let me go back to come forward. So in 2019, there was something going on with the central bank and the Federal Reserve. And there was something called from memory, it was the overnight lending rate, or it was like overnight lending. And the Fed was pumping billions and billions of dollars into the system, right? And in something like 30 days, it was something like, I don't know, I can't remember off the top of my head, but I'm very inclined to say it was like $1 trillion. This was in September 2019. In November 2019, then they started to seed our consciousness about the pandemic. And then 2020, they started to print a lot of money. So in reality, the economy has already crashed. And what they're doing is they're just printing money and putting band-aids on it so that we don't realize it. So they're giving us a lot of narratives, psyops, wars, crises, in order to take us away from the fact that things are just getting worse, right? So these elites, they're the ones that profit from the boom and bust cycles. Not us, them, because they rig the markets. They bet against the market when it is going down, and then they buy up the stuff when it hits the bottom, and then they pump it up, and then they sell at a profit. Just look at what Trump is doing with the price of oil. So anyone that wants to do a little bit of investigation on this, if you look at when oil would go down, there is like a few hours before consistently that a big short position would actually be tabled. That person's betting against the market, betting that the market will go down. And then Trump will come out and announce a deal, and boom, oil goes down and billions are made. And this has consistently been going on. So all these Trump people out there that think, trust the plan, he's the savior, he's coming to help people, he's just a puppet. He is just bought and paid for like every other politician on earth, right? And people just don't want to accept that fact. So right now, I can show you all the story behind the story, what's really going on. So this year, there are 3 big IPOs that are happening and have happened. One of them has happened already, right? So we have SpaceX, we have ChatGPT, and we have Anthropic, which is the company that makes Claude. Now, these 3 IPOs together are worth about $3 trillion. And there's something that has happened recently that a lot of people don't know, so I'm going to give you all the inside baseball so you can go and look for yourself. Larry Fink, who is the actual CEO of BlackRock, he has said that what's going to happen is that when these IPOs come, the rules were changed to kind of nudge, nudge, wink, wink, force, force the pension funds to invest in these companies. So what that means is that about 45%, I think that was the number that I saw someone said online, but I could be wrong there, so don't quote me on that. But what's going to happen is that your pension, so all the people that have 401ks, 401ks, and all the other types of mutual funds and retirement funds and stuff like that, your money, your pension is going to be invested into these AI stocks. So let me show you how this is going to work. So everyone is betting on AI right now. Right now, the economy has crashed. We are in a recession. But what's happening is that these AI companies are propping up the entire gig, the entire market, because companies are investing everything in AI because they're thinking that AI will be the actual savior of everything, right? So what they're going to do is that they're going to force us, the blue collar people, to invest in these AI companies, right? So that they can get back their money. And when these IPOs, I think SpaceX is the one that went first, and I think that was June 10th or June 12th, something like that. And what's going to happen is that those stocks are just going to go up, right? So when those stocks go up, then now all of us are invested in the market. And then they are going to bet that the market comes down because it has to. And then guess what? They're going to profit again. So they will sell the shares, offer them to the public, get profit, then buy back the shares and make more money, because when everyone is selling, they're going to be buying, but they're going to be buying it for cheap, so they make more money. And then we are going to be left holding the bag with nothing, right? Now, I think that what they're going to do is that this is going to be a catalyst for everything that's about to happen, because we have right now where we are in this S&P 500, the stock market, we are pretty much at the levels in terms of percentage for PE ratios, which is the same levels as 2001. We had a big dot-com bubble. So this is basically a dot-com bubble now. And what they're going to do is that they're going to wipe us out. And this time when we get wiped out, it's going to be a death blow. because the economy is teetering on collapse. And when they give us the death blow, it will allow them to bring in their central bank digital currency. It will also be able to bring in your digital ID, then the 15-minute cities, then eating bugs, getting your jibby jabs, because you need to have health and safety, So basically what we have is a lot of things coming together. So now let us segue to come back, because everything that I'm going to talk about today is linked. So we have the situation in Iran, the Strait of Hormuz. And the Strait of Hormuz is actually much bigger than people actually realize, because the Strait of Hormuz is a very, very important transportation hub for fertilizer and oil, which is energy on the planet. Now, 1/3 of the fertilizer goes through the Strait of Hormuz, which was already under pressure from the Ukraine war, right? And about 20% of the world's oil, so energy, passes through the Strait of Hormuz. So here's the deal. If the farmers are not getting the levels of fertilizer that they want, what they're doing is they're actually planting other crops because they are trying to survive. They're not planting food because they can't get the fertilizer to make the food. So they're planting stuff like soy and soybean in order to make money so that they can continue. Because the food that we are eating now is the fruits of last year, 2025. So 2027's crops should be planted now, grown now, and being harvested now. But they're not, because 1/3 of the fertilizer goes through the Strait of Hormuz. So if there's no fertilizer, there's no food. And we're going to get massive food shortages, right? This is why I said this is like a death blow. The economy is going to collapse, because they're going to run it up with these AI stocks. But here's the catch. They don't actually want to put boots on the ground in Iran right now, because if they do that, they can't sell these IPOs, because no one's going to be investing any money in the stock market, right? So when you now have the stress in the economy, the energy crisis, because what's happening now is that with no energy, there's no investment. If there's no investment, it means the velocity of money slows down. When the velocity of money slows down, it means then that basically we have difficulty to grow. So if we have difficulty to grow, and because the whole world is based on debt, it means then that there's a ripple effect where companies don't invest, companies lay off staff. When companies lay off staff, it means people have pressure to pay their bills, pay for their mortgages, pay for their rent, and stuff like that. So then at the same time, we are having a loss of confidence in the dollar due to many nations de-dollarizing, which will lead to an overall loss in confidence in money, right? So bond yields are up. Japan, which is a country that has we do the carry trade, because Japan had pretty much zero interest rates and negative interest rates for years, right? And they have actually, I think from memory, is 2%. Their bonds are yielding now, their interest rates have gone up. So that means that trade is no longer very, very possible, right? Because you used to be able to borrow the money for nothing, right? So we have bond yields, like I said, and up. We have stocks are at all-time high. We've listened to this, just 10 companies driving 70 to 78% of all growth in the S&P 500 since the AI boom, right? So what that means is that companies are going for broke with the AI, and that is going to signal high levels of leverage in the system, which is what happened in 2001 and 2007, 2008. There was lots of leverage, but then it was just like one particular sector. Now it is everything. We have housing in a bubble. I mean, like, you have places like Canada where you have like 2-bed flats costing $1 million Canadian dollars and all that kind of stuff. Like, I don't even know what flats cost now in London because I've not been there for a few years. But when I left London, I remember where I used to live in East London, you had 3-bed flats going at 500 grand and stuff. And I mean, anyone that has been to London knows that, you know what I mean, we're not really blessed with huge size of apartments, right? You know, the flats, they're not that big, right? So you're paying 500 grand for 3 matchbox rooms just to live in a good area like Stratford, right? Which is very connected, has the Elizabeth line and all that kind of stuff. And that was the Crossrail project, which I worked on when I was there. That was my last major project, you know. And man, things have changed so much since then. But this is where we are, you know. We're having a lot of leverage in the system. So what I do know is that things are, and I know this personally, that things are really, really tough because I speak to people every week, and the majority of people that I speak to on social media are in a very bad state. Like, there was this one guy that I sent him a message, say, hey mate, how you doing, man? He says, Todd, I'm doing better. You know, 3 months ago I tried to commit suicide, so I'm recovering from that. And that completely floored me and humbled me because, you know, it's very easy for one to look at their life and say that, you know, things in life are very hard, you know, it's not good, X, Y, Z. But then you have guys like that try to take their own life, and, you know, he wasn't successful and now he's put himself back together. Then I would speak to someone else and they would tell me, yeah, they just got a diagnosis of cancer. Then another person would say, oh yeah, my father just died. And then you have another person that would say, yeah, my daughter, she's now going in for chemo. And, you know, and it's because of the times that we're in, right? We're in the apocalypse, the lifting of the veil. We are basically facing our fears and traumas now. And the reason why it's so hard is because we've been neglecting to look at our fears and traumas for a very, very, very long time. And this is why we've allowed governments to not only oppress us, but kill us. Because government is, if you look the numbers, government has killed more people than all of religion. And that's why there's a term for it. It's called democide. They've killed the most people. You got Stalin, who did a big number. Then you had Mao Zedong. I think he was like 60 million Chinese. Pol Pot, you know what I mean? We've got a lot of despots that have done a lot of really bad things, right? All in the name of government. And we keep voting these people in. That is because we have been programmed to look for a savior. And this is why I talk a lot about religion, because everything is a religion. And the 3 main religions that rule the world are the religion of money, government, and organized religion. And when you speak to the followers and the believers of each of these 3 religions, there's no getting through to them. A statist will always believe that the state has its back. People, all the normies, believe that the government is their friend. And, you know, these jibby jabs, they are to give you health. And they will just line up to get their quadruple booster, you know. And then they're taking flu shots and, you know, coronavirus shots all at the same time. yeah, which is just freaking madness. But this is the lunacy that we're in. And when you try to talk to any of these people and you look in their eyes, you can see no one's home. It's almost like they don't have a soul, you know? And this is the state of the world, because I think about 98% of humanity are normies, you know? And the people out there that are trying to show people, you know, how to get out of the matrix and give solutions and stuff, people like myself, we are heavily, heavily shadow banned. We're crushed because, you know, the normies are just gravitating to all the glitz and glamour of these big social media personalities and the media, the government, and not realizing that you can't vote yourself out of tyranny. You know, you can't make deals with a tyrant. But this is where we are. So, you know, like I was getting back to what I was saying about the economy, so everything is linked. So the stuff with the Jeffrey Epstein files is linked because that brings down the system. But here's the thing. I don't think they want the system to collapse yet. So they're not going to allow the actual real predators to be revealed. And this is why we have all these forever wars. So, you know, the war in Ukraine there's so many levels for it. It's for the protection of the biolabs, the illegal biolabs that they have there. You know, don't forget that Hillary Clinton's 33,000 emails, the server, CloudStrike, is based in Ukraine, right? Then they caused the Maidan Revolution in 2014, you know. So all of these things are there to basically protect their interests and keep us actually enslaved. And then the war with Ukraine and Russia, well, you know, I mean, people are dying. And the reason for that is because they need the constant sacrifice of humans every day so that their God can get the energy. You know, because everything in this world is energetic. Everything is linked, everything is tied. This is why even the Gaza war, which is an absolute travesty, you know, and anyone that can't admit that's a genocide is probably intellectually dishonest. Killing is wrong, whether you think it's justified or not, which is why I say that the God in the Old Testament is Satan, right? Because he tells his followers to go and kill even the creepy crawlies, kill every male and son, kill all women and children, even the animals, just kill them, slaughter them, get rid of them. So imagine you have a God that is even telling his people to kill the insects, which are the creepy crawlies. That's the God that people are worshiping. And that is the God that, you know, rules the world. So, yeah, it is a very, very connected spider web. So this is why they have the war in Iran now, because they want to starve us out. They want to give us famines for food, cut our energy so that we are forced to stay in our houses, because they tried to lock us down in 2020, 2021, and then, you know, they just let us out because it was getting ridiculous. But now we're going to voluntarily do it, because we'll have no energy, we have no food, and then they will bring the solution, which are bugs, processed food, food made from literal sewage, and fake meat, and everything that's GMO, right? This is the future that they want to give us, you know? So I can take a very quick break here to say, guys, if you find these walk and talks useful, you like my content, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, because that helps us to grow. That helps our content to be recommended to other people who may not know about the podcast. And leave a comment while you're there. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Adriano_246 or at the Conscious Man 7 podcast. And you can also find me on Facebook, Todd Cave on Facebook. And you know, guys, I do this because I am answering my call. I actually love doing this. Although you may not believe me, but I actually don't really like social media. But as I always say, it's not the things that you like that you do, it's the things that you have to do. And you know, guys, if y'all want to support me and y'all listen to this podcast on the podcast platforms, you can think about becoming a member of our Patreon or Locals community, because the podcast platforms have loads of ads. And if you are a member of the Patreon or Locals community, you will get early access to all these videos. You will get direct access to me, because I get a lot of messages on social media and I reply to those messages on Patreon and Locals first, just like I do with my coaching clients. And for a few bucks a month, you know, a couple of teas or coffees, you would help us out with things like editing and doing research to get on some really cool guests and stuff like that. So link to the Patreon and Locals community will be in the description of this podcast. And don't forget to check out the sponsor of our show, Dikembo, at dikembo.com. Go over there and get yourself some Organite, which produces the life source energy, which helps combat the nasty EMF waves that we're constantly bombarded with. Use coupon code CM7 to get 10% off your order. And if you can see this here, this is one of the Organite pendants that I have. And whenever I go out of my house, I always wear it, because I have a big giant Organite pyramid at home that completely covers my entire house and the block of flats around me, right? So now let's get back to covering the state of the world. So like I said, we are actually going to have a loss of confidence in government. And I'm actually seeing that people are finally waking up to the fact that nothing changes, right? Nothing changes when you vote. And the more people vote, the more nothing changes, right? So when you look at Trump, he's completely bought and paid for. He is just like every other single politician, and he is basically a member of the club. You know, the cabal funds him. And I can't remember how much money they say he's made since he's come back into office. It was, I think they say it's something like 2.4 billion or something like that, some ridiculous number. And, you know what I mean, his insiders are the most likely, you know, doing all of the short selling, because they know that he's going to make an announcement about a deal with Iran, which will cause the oil to go down, right? And I'll be honest with you, right? I am surprised that oil right now is not $200 a barrel. And if that happens, oh my goodness, you're going to have massive chaos in the street. And they're manipulating the market, so we don't have that. And I think that what they're doing is that they're trying to buy time in order to get themselves out of dodge a bit, get these IPOs through. And once the IPOs go through, then they probably put boots on the ground. And when they do that, then we will start to have a tanking in the economy. And then that's when all mayhem is going to break loose, you know? So now let's talk about one of my favorite topics, which is UFOs and extraterrestrials. So when I first started to talk about the Anunnaki, UFOs, extraterrestrials in 2022, I told people that I do see in our lifetimes that we will start to see ETs or UFOs and stuff like that. And last year I said that they're going to push extraterrestrials heavily in 2026. And once again, I was proven right? So the government will not tell us the truth, and they will just give us a limited hangout, as it is part of the controlled collapse of the system, right? So as I had alluded to earlier, like with the Jeffrey Epstein files, they're doing the exact same thing with the UFO files. And they have stuff, so we have people telling us that there's certain types of files that exist, but they're not bringing out the files and giving us heavily redacted, you can't even call it 720p. I think after that it's 360p. You know what I mean? Which is like grainy as hell, very difficult to actually make out what is what. And you know what I mean, they're dumping these things. But I can show you something about what's going on even with that. We are having governments around the world, so Japan, Brazil, and I think from memory Russia, are preparing their own files. So when was the last time you saw governments in lockstep doing the exact same thing? Drum roll please. The pandemic. So if anyone is still thinking that the system is not controlled by a hidden hand, everything is not connected, all of these people are just actors, the whole world is a stage, and men and women are just mere players, if you don't understand that now, then my friend, I think that there's probably no hope for you, because anyone that has two brain cells to rub against can see that everything is rigged. The system is not there to help us, it's there to oppress us, and all of these leaders are actors and actresses, right? So what is really going on is that they're distracting us with all of these things because they want to bring in a track, trace, and database system with Palantir. And then you have these flock cameras as well that are basically recording every single movement of people and going to databases where who knows where. And if you think that the government doesn't have access to this information, you are sadly mistaken. I know for a fact that if anyone is, say, on a mobile phone and you say certain word patterns, certain words in certain patterns, in no time you will have black cars or helicopters or police outside, because these people listen to all of our calls, they surveil all of our messages. No app is safe, Signal can be hacked, all encrypted devices can be hacked. There was remember Vault 7? Vault 7 was a CIA software that I think Edward Snowden talked about, or he disclosed to the public, where basically they have software that they can break into any single device. So all those Apple fanboys that think that their phones can't be hacked, this is why they pay top dollar for privacy, quotation marks, then you're sadly mistaken, because the Israeli government has technology that they can just put it next to the iPhone and hack it. All phones can be hacked. Google's, Linux, freaking whatever the operating system there is, Windows, it all can be hacked because it's digital. They make the system, they make the technology, they make the backdoors in it. We are just animals on a human farm, this planet called Earth. And Alex Jones, for all his flaws, he coined it correctly when he said it is a prison planet, you know? So this is why I say that there will be a loss of faith in religion. And right now, because I follow Islam a lot, there are a huge number of apostates now, huge. And the reason why I talk about Islam a lot is because people don't understand that Islam is like the sleeping giant. Because when you understand history and how Islam works, Islam is literally a parasite. It's a virus. It is actually not a religion. It is a deen. It is a political system that uses the guise of religion to further its ideology, right? I did a 3-part series with Lloyd de Jong, so y'all can go back and check those videos, because everything that's happening now in Europe, we covered extensively the history, the roots, the belief system, and all that stuff with Islam. And The reason why I like to talk about Islam is because in order to know about Islam, you have to read their books. You have to investigate it, because what people will tell you online about Islam is all false, right? Their religion it has no historicity, so they have no archaeology, and there are no external sources confirming anything that it says. Now, Christianity, for all of its flaws, has historicity, archaeology, and external sources confirming certain things. So what we do know is that there was a guy called Yeshua. He became the Christ, and he was crucified. Even his enemies wrote about that. This is what you have called external sources. You have archaeology that confirms the location of the cities mentioned in the Bible, like Nineveh. And then you had things like the Ashburnapal Library that was in Samaria, that was also a place mentioned in the Bible. You have people like Cyrus the Great. You have Ur. All these places are found. You have also a lot of other places that are talked about in the Bible that you can confirm through archaeology. So Christianity, for all its flaws, has certain things like historicity, archaeology, and external sources.
Now, I want to talk to you about something that might feel like a gear change. Stay with me. You know what genuinely frustrates me? Watching men who are spiritually switched on, doing the inner work, evolving their consciousness, reading the books, listening to the podcasts, but still completely lost when it comes to what they're putting into their body every single day. Still carrying weight they do not want, still operating below their potential, still letting food control them instead of the other way around. And here is the truth nobody wants to say out loud. An awakened mind living in an undisciplined body is still a divided man. I've seen it too many times, and it bothers me enough to build something about it. So I created the Compound Body Training Custom Meal Plan, a done-for-you 4-week nutrition system built specifically around your body, your biology, your goals, and yes, your favorite foods. This is not a template. This is not a generic diet sheet somebody copy-pasted from the internet. This is your personal nutritional blueprint, designed around you, delivered to you, ready to follow from day one. Because if you want to take a do-it-yourself approach to your health and your sovereignty, this is the most powerful tool you can start with. Just go to compoundbodytraining.com/meal plan. The link is in the description below. Your body should reflect the standard you actually live by. Now, here's the thing about that meal plan. It only works if your body can actually absorb what you're putting in it. And that starts in your gut. Most people don't realize their microbiome is the foundation of everything. Energy, focus, mood, recovery. Which is exactly why I want to tell you about Good Brew. Most people walking around right now are dealing with some version of the same problem. Bloating, brain fog, low energy, mood instability, burnout they cannot shake, and they're blaming stress, sleep, their diet, trying everything, but here's what almost nobody is talking about. 90% of your serotonin, the neurotransmitter that controls your mood, your calm, your ability to think clearly, is produced in your gut, not your brain, your gut. So if your microbiome is damaged or depleted, your mental and physical performance suffers every single day, and most people have no idea that's what's happening to them. Good Brew was built exactly to fix that. It's a prebiotic and probiotic powder. 1 scoop into your morning coffee, tea, or oatmeal, delivering 1 billion active live cultures per serving, plus 3.5 grams of soluble prebiotic fiber to rebuild and feed your gut microbiome from the ground up. And the probiotic strain they use, BC30, survives 10 times more effectively than standard yogurt cultures. That means it actually reaches your gut and gets to work. No sugar, no gluten, no dairy, no compromise. This is a clean, clinically grounded product, and it's one I want in the hands of every person in this community. I've been taking it now for a few weeks and I have had more energy during the day, faster muscle recovery from training, more mental focus, and improved mood and better quality sleep. Go to goodbrew.com/cm7, use code CM7 at the checkout for 10% off exclusively for this community. Link is in the show notes below.
The problem with Christianity is that it is also a false belief system because you are putting worship and veneration on a character called Jesus, and Jesus was never his name. So what has been created is an egregore, which is a non-physical entity created, or thought pattern created by the collective thoughts and feelings by a said group of people. So people believe Jesus, and I'm talking about the word Jesus and the character Jesus, because the character Jesus, the egregore Jesus, is different from Yeshua, who became the Christ, because the Christ is a spiritual office. It's a level of consciousness that one attains, and it is when you've actually brought in your oversoul that you can actually have full control of your body and you become the God-man. So getting back to Christianity, there's certain things that you can use Christianity for, because there are some good stuff in the Bible, but there are also some heinous stuff, because they always give you a carrot and a stick, right, with these things. 80% good stuff, 20% bad stuff. We accept the bad stuff because we like the good stuff. But if you have 100% water and you put 1 drop of wine in it, it is not pure water anymore. And that is the allegory for religion. So as I was saying, we have a lot of people losing faith in religion, especially Islam. They're actually, and the funny thing is, they're actually converting to Christianity. So you're actually seeing a revival of faith on the Christian side and a loss of faith in Islam, because I think they say in America 25% of the youth don't even believe in Islam anymore or have left the religion, right? Now, what the thing is with that religion is that at any point in time, these religions always cover up child sex trafficking, right? And this is the thing. The religion is used as a guise to molest, sacrifice, and eat children. Yeah? And we saw that in the Jeffrey Epstein files. So you may not believe in religion, but they do. And that is their religion. It's the religion of Moloch, Baal, Baal, Ubal, Nanasin, Allah, Yahweh, Enlil. All of these are characters, right? But they all worship the same energy. They are, or I should say better, they are of the same energy, which is all negative and parasitic and demonic, satanic. So what is also happening right now is that I saw an interesting stat recently, and we as a population are losing the battle for procreation. And this is part of the agenda. So what they've done is that they've introduced things like feminism, and to get women in the workplace, because what they would say is that the first wave feminism is different from what we have today, which is probably 4th or 5th wave, right? And the whole idea, when you look at the people who founded it, the idea was to get women into the workforce so that the system could get more tax revenue and put people more enslaved. But then here's the other level to that. When the women are in the workforce, who's taking care of the children? The TV, because I'm a kid of the 80s, and it wasn't a problem to, your kids will be at home on their own, watching TV or playing, and then the parents would come in. So if you have the TV raising the kids, that's how the indoctrination starts. Then now you introduce birth control. So then now we start having as many children. Then now you introduce and ramp up things like pornography hard drugs, you know what I mean? Then you up the crime of violence. And what that does now is that gets the fathers, the men, out of the house. So you have single mothers. Single mothers, how are they going to raise boys? You know what I mean? You need a man to teach a man how to be a man. Women cannot teach a boy how to be a man, because she, respectfully, does not know the male experience, and she does not understand the pressure and the stress that a guy is under. Only another man can teach a boy how to be a man, and he would teach him how to respect women, how to take care of women, how to protect, how to provide, how to be a safe pair of hands, as I like to say, how to be responsible, how to take accountability for things in his life, you know, how to honor his word. That discipline, consistency, and leadership comes from a man. A woman doesn't have the testosterone to do that. It's a simple thing of biology. Men are very, very important. This is why I talk to men. I coach men. You know what I mean? Now, at the same time, women play a very, very important part, right? And the problem that we have is that there's an imbalance, right? So now we have men against women and women against men. So even though dating is like a combat sport, like verbally, it's like adversarial. Women today are very aggressive, right? And this is why a lot of women are single, because then you have the going back to the feminism now, then they become very, very promiscuous. So, I mean, promiscuity is great for men, but at the end of the day, we're both destroying ourselves, because, you know, but then there's a caveat. Only the top 10% of men are sleeping with 80 to 90% of the women. So the other 90% of men are actually sexless, which is going to go on to my other point, that amongst young people, 22 of ages between 22 and 34, about 24% of them have not had sex in the last 12 months, which will further lower birth rates, because if we're not having sex, we're not going to procreate. And, you know, it means that we have many crises of humanity are facing at the same time. All the stuff I talked about before, now added in something as basic as sex. So can you imagine, right? A man now in his peak testosterone times, 22 to 34, and 24% of them have not had sex in a year. That means these guys are incels. That means these guys have checked out of dating. They are not interested in women. And that means they're either spanking the bishop in their house on OnlyFans, they're, you know what I mean, drinking or smoking, or just playing video games. But either way, they're not out there doing sports, approaching girls, getting rejected, going through pain, struggle, learning through adversity, because that is the life of a man. So I'm going to give you a little breakdown here. Anytime you see a man that's good with women, he has had thousands and thousands of rejections from women. And that is the life of a man. That is disappointment, pain, struggle. You know what I mean? Like having to pull yourself up, you know, getting beat down. So this is why I said that only a man can explain that to a man and show him that this is part of the journey. But if you have consistency, discipline, you have a good nutrition, you go to the gym, you do meditation, you know, if you want to do psychedelics, you do psychedelics. Oh, by the way, if anyone is on a spiritual journey, or they would like to start a spiritual journey and they would like some help moving some fears and traumas, I can help you to get some magic mushrooms. So hit me up on my Instagram at Adriano_246, or my name Todd Cave on Facebook. Send me a message. Let's have a chat and let's see if I can help you to get some magic mushrooms. And magic mushrooms are also really good for helping people with PTSD and CPTSD. So, you know, these are the things that men need to be doing. Self-improvement, learning new skills, learning new languages, traveling, getting experience, because women like men who have experience in life, because women seek men who can lead. That is the role of a man. Women seek leadership. Men seek soft women, women who will listen, who you don't have to force to do things, who will see the value in what you're doing, and they will follow your lead. This is where you have the yin and the yang. And then she now allows him now to not necessarily be such a hard bastard and not show love in the ways that counts, because she now, like the book of Joshua says, Adam told his son Seth, your mother Eve, she taught me consciousness. So the woman helps the man improve his consciousness, but in order for her to do that, the man has to create a space that is safe so that she can feel, she can be vulnerable and not feel like she's in an unsafe position, and she can do her magic, right? It's a yin and a yang. So if we have young boys not having sex, it means we're having men not approaching women. So it means that both sexes are not going to procreate, and we're just going to have a bunch of weak men out there, and then no one is going to be there to push back against the system, because it is not a woman's job to push back against the system. It is the job of us men to do it. And we have a lot of weak men, a lot of beta men, a lot of feminine men who can't even lead their way out of a plastic bag. You know what I'm saying? So, you know what I mean? Obviously, if men are weak and can't lead themselves out of a plastic bag, no woman is going to be attracted to them. But who suffers? We, humanity, we suffer because, you know what I mean, we have no protectors and leaders. And then the women, they have a great talent. They can, carry life, help us produce new life, more life. And if no one's hooking up, then we're screwed. And then the population will go down. And the goal is to get the population down to 500 million, as was written on the Georgia Guidestones, because that's the number that they think they can have slaves, control, and live like lords and kings for infinity, Now, all hope is not lost, right? So I wanted to share all of these things with y'all to show y'all that these are the issues and the crises that are going on in the world. And don't be distracted by the noise that they're telling us and giving us, because everything is fake and gay. I'm telling you, the vast majority of social media personalities that you see online with huge platforms, I would put my neck out there to say about 98% of them are fake, right? And even if they started out not being fake, here is something that I'm going to share with you now. So I have a mate that was in the music industry, and we were talking about an artist that I really like. And I said to him, he's an independent artist, and I really liked his music. But then I said to him, but of late, I'm starting to see a little bit of a shift in his music, because he never used to really talk so much about money and balling and all that kind of stuff. And I said, man, that's a bit weird. I said, I can understand he's doing well in life, but he started out talking about not flaunting, not showing people what he's up to and this and that, just, trying to be inspiration and making music. So my mate said to me, listen, Todd, all these people that say they're independent, there's nothing called independent. He says, the cabal, the people, the elites, they own the system. He says you cannot do anything without them. He said that you can be independent, but there's a cap on the amount of money you can make. He says that you will not be allowed, and as we say, he says you will not be allowed to make more than 10 million. When you make over 10 million, he says they come and they knock on your door and they tell you to do a deal. And if you don't do a deal, they literally shut down all of your ways and ability to make money and to bring out music, even if you're independent. Because these people own the algorithms. I have literally seen my watch time hours, right, go down, literally, because I brought on certain people on my platform. right? I have been banned for 3 weeks. And, I am nowhere near very, very big yet, right? Because it will happen. And it is happening now because the quality of guests I have on the show is a testament that is growing. But anyway, I digress. He said that you are not allowed to have any more, you're not allowed to make any more than 10 million. And he said to me that if you don't do a deal, you will never make another penny in the world again, because no distributors, no platforms, no banks, nobody will do business with you. So he said the best you can do is negotiate a deal where you will change your messaging slightly. So he said to me that maybe in his case, what happened is that he agreed to talk a little bit about money and balling, right? And then I have another mate that had a very, very, very huge company in England. And he said to me that the cabal came to him and told him to do a deal with him. And he said no, because at this time he didn't know anything about this. And he said no. He said, why would I do a deal with you when I'm doing so well on my own and I'm honest and I have nothing to hide and what's not? And then a few months later, he was under investigation from the Serious Fraud Office. Long story short, they shut down his company, and his company at the time was worth £250 million, which in today's money is probably £1 billion. So that's about $1.3 billion, right? So those are two stories, two separate industries, all saying the same thing. You cannot make it big in this matrix unless you sign a deal with the devil and these people that run it. So this is why I always tell people, look, if you like the work I do, support us for a few bucks a month on Patreon. If you're into crypto, the description in my podcast always has my Bitcoin wallet. If you want to help us out, help us to grow so that, we can remain doing these videos like this, coming out to places like this, doing the research on getting good guests. And I'm actually working on a few things behind the scenes now to help me to become a lot more independent from algorithms. So when it's ready, I'll announce it here and tell y'all where y'all can go so that we can stay in contact a lot more, so that we're not relying on, Instagram and Facebook and XYZ, because yeah, I'm throttled. But what that does is that it confirms that I am over the target with what I say and the information that my guests share. And yeah, so like I was saying, all is not hope, but we have to actually work on ourselves. We have to do the hard work now that it is easy to do, instead of waiting to do the hard work when it is hard to do, because life is going to get harder. And I called it last year, and 2027 is going to be levels, because you're going to have all of these things happening. Energy crisis, food crisis, government crisis, collapsing religion, collapsing money, AI trying to tell us that it is God, and no one is going to be looking to work on themselves because we're going to be in survival mode. And remember, when you are in survival mode, you're under stress, you can't think clearly, and you will do things just to survive. It is just like the reason why meal prepping is so important to be in shape is that when you're hungry, you will literally just put anything in your mouth, right? But if you have done your meal prep, when you get hungry, you have your Tupperware there with the food already in it. You just take it out, put it in the oven or in the frying pan like me, and heat your food up. Because we don't do microwaves, because microwaves destroy your food. It's just poison. All the nutritional value out the food is gone with a microwave. So this is why I always talk about knowing thyself, improving your level of consciousness, reading books, getting into shape, right? Because when you get into shape, that is the biggest act of rebellion you can take to the state. Because here's the thing, right? I've got a mate that always likes to say we need to wake up humanity in order to save humanity. And I say no. What we need to do is focus on waking ourselves up. Every individual does the work on themselves. Now, when you do that, it means that people will see you. People will be inspired by you. People will be like, hey, Todd, hey, John, hey, Susan, like, I see you so calm, like, you're in really good shape. Like, what are you doing? Can you teach me? Can you help me? Can you guide me? That is how you change humanity. By you being the change you want to see. And by you being the change you want to see, it means then that you set the example. Because everybody has to lead. We lead ourselves instead of following, or as we say in Barbados, being a follow pattern, right? So if everybody on earth does the work on themselves, heal their fears and traumas, start eating right, and this is one of the reasons why I have created the Compound Body Training Meal Plan, because I'm tired of seeing people being fat and overweight, not knowing what to eat. So if you want to you don't want to necessarily get coaching because money's a little bit tight, head over to compoundbodytraining.com/meal plan, click on there, fill out a form, and I will make a 4-week meal plan for you with delicious food that you want to eat, and it will tell you exactly what to eat and how much to eat, because part of the problem is lack of knowledge, right? So yeah, guys, the world is changing very fast. They're bombarding us with loads and loads and loads of psyops. And yeah, people are becoming more and more, destitute. A lot of people are not believing there's hope. This is why I shared a couple of those stories in the beginning of this walk and talk with you. Like people who've lost their father, child got cancer, they got cancer, suicide, you know what I mean? So this is why Yeshua says that man's hearts will fail them, because a lot of people are not going to be able to handle the pressure, and they're going to self-exit because it's too hard. And I know the journey is tough, trust me. I am battling just like you guys. And one of the things I would say that's really helpful for me is just literally putting down the fear. Literally just leaving it, because it becomes too much hard work to maintain the fear. And even though the thing that you fear may be still there, but you're not connected to it energetically, it means then that you are able to think, find solutions, make changes, and be open to new suggestions. Because in a state of fear, you can't hear anything that someone is saying. So guys, I just want to say thank you all for all the support and, the love that you have given me. This is just over 2 years now that the Conscious Man 7 podcast has been up. We're almost at 150 episodes now, which is amazing. And, guys, I do this out of love. I want to help people as much as I can. And if anything in this video resonated with you and you would like to start your journey, your comeback, your level up, and you want some help to get into shape, because my take is that you start with the body. You get the body strong and in shape first. And then after that, you can focus on other things, because getting in shape will improve your mindset. So if you would like to start a fitness journey and you would like some help also to learn how to eat, learn how to train, level up in other areas of life, hit me up on my Instagram at Adriano_246 or my name Todd Cave on Facebook. Send me a message. Let's have a chat and let's see if you're a good fit for the Compound Body Training Army. If you also would like to get into shape, but you don't necessarily want to, have someone to coach you, or maybe money's a little bit tight. Like I said before, I can help you by creating a meal plan for you. So head over to compoundbodytraining.com/meal plan, and I will help you to start your fitness journey that way, and also improve your knowledge on food. And if you are on a spiritual journey, or you would like to start a spiritual journey, and you would like some help removing some fears and traumas, I can help you to get some magic mushrooms. So hit me up on my Instagram at @Adreno_246, or my name Todd Cave. Send me a message, let's have a chat, and I'll help you to get some magic mushrooms, because magic mushrooms are the brain medicine. They grow new neurons in the brain from new neural pathways. And if you start a fitness journey at the same time you do magic mushrooms, you get a much better probability of staying consistent, because neurons that fire together wire together, and they become your new reality. So as I said, if you like the work we do and you would like to support me, and for a few bucks a month, and you listen to this show on the podcast platforms, and for a few bucks a month you can help us out with things like editing, research for guests and stuff like that. So head over to my Patreon or locals community. Link will be in the description of this podcast. And don't forget to check out the sponsor of our show, The Kembo, at thekembo.com. Get yourself some cool organite pyramids, tower busters, and jewelry like this. So use coupon code CM7 to get 10% off your order. So guys, don't forget to like, subscribe, and to share, because that helps us to be recommended in the algorithms. And to all of the Conscious Man 7 family around the world, thank you for tuning in today. Thank you for supporting the mission, and thank you for choosing to look inside of you to heal, as it creates a ripple effect in the world. This was another episode of the Conscious Man 7 podcast, special edition Walk and Talk today. And this is the place where we go beyond the veil in search of the truths that they hide from you, to help you to reclaim your power, and to help you to heal your body and mind in order to step into the newest version of yourself. You are the help that you've been looking for. So remember, folks, keep smiling, keep shining, and keep being the change you want to see.
Before we wrap up, whatever today's conversation sparked in you, use it. Growth isn't just mental, it isn't just spiritual, it's physical, and it starts with what you're putting into your body every single day. 1 billion life cultures, 3.5 grams of prebiotic fiber, 0 excuses. Go to goodbrew.com/CM7, use code CM7 at the checkout to get 10% off. Link is in the show notes below. A conscious man doesn't just think about change, he makes it.
Speak to you soon. Cheers and namaste.